Hey everyone, super excited. We are launching into the third cycle for the accelerator. So after the cycle, you're going to be halfway done. Although if you're feeling the way I'm feeling, I never want this to end. But yeah, we're excited to jump into this next topic. We're actually going to be focusing on two different things together in this cycle. One is your company value proposition, and the other is your MVP. Now, I know that some of you, especially around the MVP side, already have something creative, have already built something, tested something, but just be open-minded through this process and through this cycle. What we're hoping is that you get some really good ideas of what really you need to get this business off the ground. And I know Adrian had mentioned that you all are going to do a little exercise around this of what you can take out. I think that's super valuable. But so before we get into the next class, I just wanted to go over these concepts with you, get you thinking in the right direction, give you a couple examples, so you can get a feel for how to really think about your value proposition and your MVP. So first we're going to start with the value proposition. I'm going to share my screen real quick as we go through these topics. Okay, so the value proposition. So now that you've identified the customer and the problem that you're solving, right? That's what we went through last time. Well, who is your ideal customer? What problem do they have? What alternatives are they using? So now it's time to think about, okay, so what value can you offer them? Which is really, how do you solve that problem, right? What benefit do you create to help them solve that problem? So, in its simplest terms, the value proposition is a statement that explains the benefit you will provide for who and how you'll do it uniquely well. So thinking back to the Nike example we talked about in the last cycle, think about Nike, right? Their value proposition is not shoes, right? Like the best shoes on the planet. The value proposition is shoes that help you win, okay? Which is really different. So think about it. Runners don't really care about the technology of the shoes, all those things. What they care is the ultimate benefit that they were getting from Nike shoes in the beginning, which was setting world records, winning, all of those things. So again, that's really what the value proposition is. And brands that do this very well not only are able to connect with their ideal customer and customers over time, but they can also adapt, because again, the value is really something different than a product or service. So, when you think about the experience of companies, for example, like a Nordstrom, that's been written about over time, or a Four Seasons, and their value proposition is really experience, right? Top of the line experience for people coming to their properties, to their stores. So think about the brands that you love, or products or services, and what their value proposition is. So again, we use Four Seasons as the example. So they write, time will change, but our dedicating to perfecting the travel experience never will. So again, that's kind of marketing lingo, but what you hear in that is it's about the travel experience. That is a very all-encompassing idea, perfecting that travel experience. And when you walk into a Four Seasons, you get the feel of that. There's fresh flowers, there's scents, their staff is trained to just make your experience as somebody staying there excellent. And it's so much more than the hotel and the way the hotel's built and the way the rooms are set up. It's all coming together into that perfect travel experience. So, again, those are some that people know really well. I wanted to use the example that was something recent. So Tiffany posted about this software company called Dubsado. So I've never used it. I've heard of it before. But, again, when you think about that, they have a software. It's built in a certain way. It does certain things. But the real value there is, and this is what they say, cut out the busy work and streamline your projects from start to finish. So that's the value they're offering you, right? Cutting out the busy work, streamlining your projects, right? Which makes your life easier. So again, starting to really consider and think about the exercise we want you to go through is think about other companies and really start to identify what their value propositions are. That's going to be the first step in this, is getting clear on how do you distinguish that? How do you distinguish that value proposition? So then we're going to talk about MVPs as well. So I think we've gone over this term a little bit, and some of you know really well. So it's minimum viable product or service. There are some videos out there that say that product's not really the right word. Some people use the term minimum viable experience. So really, what do you need to create as simple as possible to prove this idea, to offer that value proposition? So those two really go hand in hand, right? Because you want to be able to offer the value in its most minimum solution to see, you know, if you can really deliver on that and if it works. And it's really, again, tied back to that value. So minimum viable product's not meant to say, you know, it's not just something that's simple. It's not just something that's small. It's not just the basic. What it really is making sure you're still offering that value, but in its simplest form. So you're not overbuilding, you're not overspending, you're not creating something that doesn't offer that value. That's the whole purpose of it. So think about it from that perspective. What can you create to offer that value and see if it works to build upon? So one of my favorite examples that I want to talk with you all about is the story behind Orange Theory Fitness. So I don't know if you all know it, but it's pretty incredible. Highly recommend looking it up. I'm just going to give you a short background. But so Ellen Latham, who is the founder of the Orange Theory Fitness training concept, lost her job at 40 years old. She was in the fitness industry as a trainer for a really large company. She lost her job. She was essentially jobless, single mom at 40 years old. So she really had to decide what she was going to do moving forward. She had her Pilates certification, and obviously she was a really well-trained fitness expert. So what she did is she started offering Pilates classes in her home, in her living room, to just really start paying her bills, build up her clientele again to see what she was going to do next. In that stage, while she was offering Pilates classes, what she kept hearing from her most dedicated clientele was that they were having to do other workouts outside of Pilates to really get the best results they wanted for their fitness. So they were doing other cardio workouts, they were biking, they were running, they were needing to go to other classes. And they felt like they were essentially having to do multiple workouts to get the ultimate result. So what she did was she took her background and knowledge. She actually has a degree in physiology, which is pretty amazing, understands the science of the body. And she created a workout that essentially included the high intensity type workout with the Pilates that would give people the best result in one class. And that was really the genesis of the Orange Theory fitness classes. Was her, again, trying to solve her customers' problems where they just wanted to do one class and get the same results as they would get from her Pilates class and the other things that they were doing prior. So she spent a lot of time. Again, there's scientific research behind what she does in terms of heart rate, in terms of afterburn, and the metabolic state of your body within this workout to essentially create that best result that these customers were looking for. And, you know, it took off. For those of you who know Orange Theory, I mean, just her building around that small group of customers and doing something that created that value and seeing the results totally took off. So again, I highly recommend looking at it. So you can see, this is a quote from Ellen. So she said, "I opened up a studio in 2008 with the foundation of Orange Theory Fitness. Not to become a franchise, not to do anything beyond solving the problem for my little studio and my Pilates members. It's interesting what can happen when you tackle a problem and then you do a pretty good job of solving it." So that's a picture of her, right? You can see how small the studio was. So she was not in the mindset of, I'm going to create a franchise and we're going to have businesses all over the world and studios all over the world and an app and all these things. She was really solving the problem for her Pilates members, trying to find that ultimate workout that they could do to give them the best results. And that was her focus. And she was able to deliver on that, so much so that she ended up creating an incredibly successful company. You can see people were waiting in line to take the classes, and she was approached by one of her customers to start franchising, which is where that idea actually came from. So fast forward to 2019, The Orange Theory workout was performed 5 million times a day in 2019. We're not going to use 2020 statistics because we know that those are not relevant to essentially how this company was doing. So Orange Theory workouts across the world 5 million times a day, and the company has exceeded $1 billion in revenue. So it just goes to show that if you solve that problem and offer that value that your customers really want, even in its most simple form, your opportunity is huge, right? She really focused on creating that workout that would deliver the results her Pilates members were asking for, right? And she did it in her living room, and then she opened a small studio, and then, right, the results came from there for her and her business. So really start to get in that mindset. Again, I highly recommend you doing more research into her journey and the Orange Theory journey. Ryan, everyone knows I personally do Orange Theory workout, and I stand by it. It's exceptional, and I appreciate, you know, how it's been set up and designed to support me in getting the results that I want. So again, taking a look into that and thinking about how you can create something like that for yourself. So, you know, start thinking about other companies prior to class, you know, start honing in. What's your value proposition? You don't need to answer this yet, right, by next class. This is what we're going to be working on this whole cycle, but just start getting in the mindset of what's your value proposition and what do you need to do in its simplest form to offer that value. So, homework for the next class, you're going to come with examples of other businesses. I'm going to send a couple out too of examples so you can look at them, research them, think about, you know, again, think about businesses you love and interact with, and try to look up what, again, their value proposition is, or determine that for yourself. Look at how they started and come to class ready for examples, because we are going to be sharing examples in the next class to get our minds ready for that. So this is a really fun stage. It can be overwhelming, and I know, again, it's very hard to kind of bring down ideas sometimes to their most simple form, but if you get this part right and you can really get clear on the value you're offering and start delivering it, you're going to be really surprised with the impact it has. So super excited for this cycle. Please start thinking about this, and we will see you all Wednesday. All right. Bye.